Okay, guys, good morning. Back into our mailbag we go. We have some interesting questions this time. This gentleman's asking us, they just recently had a child, and they were wondering the effect of all the shots, the vaccines and things that kids get, and their effect on the development of the immune system. This is a very interesting point, and it's something that you have to kind of take with your own belief system on this. One, do the shots work? Are they effective, all the vaccines? Yeah, they have some benefit, and there's all kinds of research that shows that there's some benefit to them. However, there's also detriment to them. And this is where it gets a little interesting when you're looking at vaccines and what to do. I think sometimes in our effort to, I guess, help humanity, for lack of better words, we get confused. And I think the common goal of good sometimes gets replaced with the monetary value of the grab that can be there. And it's unfortunate that you see it here. And the best example of this would be like a chickenpox shot. You'll see to get rid of the varicella zoster virus, you'll see a chickenpox shot, and you look at chickenpox and you think, all right, when was the last time that was fatal? When was the last time you had some horrible, horrible issue with it? When I was a kid, we just went and played with the kids next door that had chickenpox. Everyone got it. You don't see it that often, and when you do see horrible cases, it's almost always in someone who's severely immune compromised, and you don't even see that for that particular virus very often. Or it's in like a third world country where the person's starving, they're malnourished. So you look at this and you think, okay, well, what's the reason for it then? My personal belief on this is it's a cash grab. I think it's easy. You make a $30, $40 shot, you make it mandatory, and you all of a sudden have a business. Everyone has to buy it. I think there's a lot of those that are out there. I think there's some good behind some of the theories on them, and I understand why they did it. The measles, mumps, rubella, things of that nature. The problem we run into, there's very little research following these long term. There's very little research showing that, hey, what happens when we do this repeatedly over and over and over, year after year? Children get a lot of shots in a hurry in a system that's really not developed. I'm a big fan that if you're going to do something for the immune system, you're better off bringing it in orally, allowing all the different phases of the immune system to deal with it, whether that be your tonsils, your aggregated lymphatic follicles, getting the spleen involved, allowing the body to try to deal with it in a very natural way. The problem we run into when you do a shot or something like that, you bypass all of that. You skip it all and just say, hey, we're going to sneak past all your defenses and just dump this thing into you. And I think that in what I've seen in practice over the years, there's a lot of debate on, is there an autism link? Is there a learning disability link? Is there some neurologic link? I've seen people claim things, everything from Alzheimer's to Parkinson's, being tied to immunizations. And I think there's some validity there. In my practice and what I've noticed over the years, I can think of 3 incidents where children clearly had adverse reactions to it, and whether it was the thing that tipped the scale and allowed that child to become autistic or not, that's debatable. But I think from what I've seen, I would be more inclined to think that it probably was. I think back to the flu shots that they gave in the mid-70s for the swine flu outbreak then. And they had a massive outbreak of Guillain-Barré after that, and all kinds of neurologic problems came from that. A lot of the ingredients that we use in these shots to preserve and stabilize them are really hard on the body. Some of them are carcinogenic, most of them are neurotoxins, and the idea is, well, you put a little in, it won't hurt. A little arsenic is still poison. And so you look at that, and now you're looking at benefit versus detriment to the body, and what do they give you. So it's a very tricky, slippery slope, I guess, to be careful on, and I think it's up to each individual to decide what to do. I am very, very against being told what to do. I think that when they do things for the common good, it's very easy to corrupt what we think is for the common good into, hey, we want this, we don't care what you want, we'll just make it mandatory. So it's a little scary on that side of things. As far as children go, I know that the Japanese culture, they vaccinate at a much later date. They wait until the immune system is developed in their children before they give them shots. And their sudden infant death rate is significantly lower than ours. So you look at that and you start thinking, all right, well, and that's why they did it, because they found that when they extended out the period of time, all of a sudden they had less sudden infant death. So there's a lot of debate on this. There's a lot to think about. It's definitely a personal choice. If you were to have an adverse reaction, report it immediately. If you were to have an adverse reaction, treat it as a sensitivity or an allergen. And there are numerous techniques we do in our practice. I know other doctors around the country do in their practice that help the body to offset those sensitivities and to get it to harmonize with the actual issue at hand. So you can do some really great things to kind of reverse some of the damage that might be going on. So I hope that helps you. It's a tricky subject, but it should give you some information.